Hi, I'm Faith, and you're watching Willoughby DIY. Today's projects are part of the Using Trash to Create Treasure Challenge. It's hosted by Casey from Coffee with My Sunshine, and her co-host this month is MomDas from MomDas Life Handmade. And these ladies are absolutely amazing. You really should check them out. I'll have their channels linked in the description box, as well as the playlist for this challenge. First up is these pencil holders. I'm not using them for pencils, but I made these using cake icing containers and this old placemat that I was planning on throwing away. These things are so hard to clean, and you can see there's a hot sauce stain on here. So I scrubbed it really good and let them all dry. And I love the texture on this placemat, so I wanted to use it just to add texture to these containers. And it's really fast and easy way to add texture. I'm going to measure what I need for the side of it and mark that, and then just cut it along that line that I made. It was kind of hard to cut with my scissors. They're brand new scissors, but for some reason they don't cut anything. They're impossible to use. And here I'm just marking off the spot where I need to trim off the excess. I do want it to overlap a little bit so that it completely covers, but I don't want it to overlap 3 inches or 2, whatever. And then we're just going to repeat that with the other container. And then I'm just going to take some masking tape, and you could use painter's tape. I'm just blocking off a spot so that I can paint the bottom third of this. Then I'm going to go in with my Rust-Oleum linen white chalked paint, and I'm just going to paint that 1/3 at the bottom. Now, if you're using these specific placemats, they do have holes through them. It's another reason why I don't like them. If anything gets spilled on it, it just leaks right through. So the paint did that too. But I just gave one good coat to this, and you can see some of the gray through, but I kind of wanted that. So just one good coat of your chalk paint and let it dry, and that's how it turns out. I think it looks really cool. I could have done a little more with it, but I kept it simple. Then I just dry brushed a bit of that same paint onto the gray parts. And now we attach it to our container. And just be really careful, because like I said, you know, it's got holes in it, so your hot glue will seep through and get on your fingers if you're not careful. And then you just roll it around, add more hot glue. I add it to the container as well as the other piece just to make sure it's stuck. If you've cut it too long, you can just trim it up on the bottom here, because I did that with one of mine. Then we're just going to take some of that Dollar Tree Nautical rope, and we're going to unravel it. The length I needed once it was unraveled was about 4 feet, but you don't want to measure it while it's all entwined, because it'll be longer once you take it apart. But you're just going to need 2 pieces of it, and we're just going to hot glue it around the lip of that container. And I just did the dots for the first row. I just did a dot like every 1/2 inch or so. And the second row, I went around this 3 times. We're going to cover the bottom part of it, the edge, and then the top. And the top row, I just did a full line of hot glue around. Once you get back to where you started, just trim it off, add you some hot glue and smooth it over, and that's it for these. Like, really, it's super fast, super simple, and they look really nice. I'm going to use them on my art desk to hold my cutting tools and my paintbrushes. Alright, next up is this storage basket, and I made this using a cardboard box, yes, from ramen cups that my daughter is obsessed with. And I just started by hot gluing the sides back to it, and actually took the other side apart and hot glued it too, just to make sure it was nice and secure. And then I'm going to take this old pillowcase I have. It's just been lying around. There's no use for it at all right now, so I'm going to use it for this. And I'm just going to stick it in my box, inside out, and pull it all the way down until the bottom is sort of neat inside, neat-ish. And then I'm going to mark with a pencil all the way around at the bottom of the box. I don't know if that makes sense, but I marked it off. And then I'm just going to cut it out. See, these scissors are terrible. And then I'm going to take some of my clips that I got from the Dollar Tree. I love those things, they're amazing. And I'm going to put them in the center of each side to hold that exactly where I want it. And then taking these huge popsicle sticks, I'm going to cut down the ends off of 8 of them, and then I'm going to take 4 of those and I'm going to line them up on the side and cut them to fit the shorter side of the box. And then we're just going to hot glue them on there. So on the sides you'll just need 2 that set perfectly even. And then on the longer side, the front and the back, I'm going to do them like this. I'm going to put one on at the bottom on the left side, and then one at the top towards the right. Just kind of offset like this. And then I'll just take one more of those craft sticks, and then we're just going to line it up, mark it, cut it, and glue it down on the sides. And I do this for the front and the back. And then we're just going to glue our cloth to it. So I just fold that end over to make it look neat, and then I'm just gonna put a line of hot glue above the sticks, and then fold over my cloth on the ends and press it right onto that hot glue. And I do that all the way around. Now you could stain these popsicle sticks before you did any of this, but I couldn't decide what color I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to do a gray or a whitewash or stain it. And so I was like, you know, I'm just going to leave it natural for now. I can come back in later and change it if I want. But you guys could use any scrap cloth you might have lying around. I know all of us pretty much have old pillowcases, so you could definitely use those. And then I'm going to take some more nautical rope. And I'm going to cut 2 handles. And then I'm just marking where I want to insert the ends of the handles. And I just put a line and then sort of pinch the cloth like this and just cut it to create a little hole. And I stuck the end of my rope in, and then just kind of shoved the tip of my hot glue gun in there and just filled it up with some hot glue. And just held it in place until it was completely dry and cooled off. And I'm just going to do that with both sides of the handles and the other handle as well. And that's it for this. I'm going to use it to hold some extra Xbox controllers and headphones and just random electronic stuff that doesn't get used as often. But you could use yours for anything. They're absolutely beautiful, and I think they would look great holding like some florals or something, maybe some greenery. And last but not least is the Succulent Planter Set, and I'm using these adorable little glass jars that are actually the wee yogurt jars. And then you'll need 4 of these lids actually, and they're from just pasta sauce jars. And I'm going to make a texture paint, and I wanted it to be a sort of a light navy blue, if that makes sense. I just wanted a nice country blue color. This is my first time making texture paint, so I added my baking soda and added a little too much, and I added more paint until I was happy with it. I was just back and forth until it was a spreadable consistency. And then I'm just gonna tape off the parts that I want to paint on my little jars. And I did different sort of patterns on each one. Originally I was gonna leave these clear on the parts where I didn't put the texture paint, but I changed my mind later, of course. And then we're just gonna get started painting. Just don't press down hard with your paintbrush, and just sort of smooth it lightly over the surface. The paint mixture, it dries up pretty quickly, but I noticed if you add a little bit more paint to it and mix it up really good, it pretty much fixes that. Because of the way it dries up so quickly, I added more paint, and it ended up turning each of these a lighter color than the last one, which I'm happy with. I think it's really nice. You can't really see it as well once they're dry, but it just gives them an inconsistency that just makes them, I don't know, more rustic and cute, I think. And I taped off the other 2 in different patterns, like I said, and this one I gave a stripe to, which I was really worried that when I pulled up that middle piece of tape that it was just going to peel everything off, but it didn't. It worked pretty well. And you don't have to paint the bottoms, but you know, I do. And then I just sanded down those lids, and I'm painting them Territorial beige, and they will need 2 coats to completely cover them. And taking a couple of these 1/4 inch dowel rods, I marked off 4 lines on each of them. For one of them, it's 4 3-inch pieces, and the other is 4 1.5-inch pieces. And then I just took my heart rotary tool with the cutting attachment and cut those down. And I'm just doing kind of like a sort of stain thing on them. I just put Territorial beige on there and immediately wipe it off with a paper towel. Not watered down, nothing. And once those are done, I add my second coat to my lids. And this is where I decided to paint the clear parts of the jars, and I'm glad I did. It looks so great. I used linen white Rust-Oleum chalk paint, and it took 2 coats to cover, but it was so worth it. I think it looks so cute. And then I did a little dry brushing on the blue parts very lightly. And then I just took a color called Light Mocha from Apple Barrel and did some distressing on those lids to make them look more like little wood round pieces, and coated them all in a nice layer of Mod Podge. And now we just attach our little legs to our little stands. The hot glue did not work well for me, guys. It kept wanting to pop off. I noticed if I flood it a lot with the hot glue and then secure more hot glue around it, it held okay, but I did have another leg pop off on me, so I highly recommend using something like super glue, or probably E6000 would be your best bet. And so we have the short legs on one, the long legs on one, and then the last two, I'm going to take 2 of these tumbling tower block pieces and glue them together inside of the lid so that I can stack them on each other. I didn't want to just glue around the edge of the lid because then you'd have all that hot glue popping out. So I did this instead, and to make my short stand. Then we're just going to fill our little flower pots with some floral foam from the Dollar Tree and whatever succulent picks that you have lying around. And I'm going to fill those extra space up with some rocks also from the Dollar Tree and put our plants in there. And this is definitely my favorite project of this video. It was so much fun to do and it just looks so great. I can't wait to find a place to put it in my house. So let me know in the comments which one of these was your favorite. And don't forget to check out the ladies that hosted this Using Trash to Create Treasure Challenge, Casey and MomDas. If you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you guys next time.